Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I hope I sound good. I've done some changes over here on my mixer, so hopefully my audio sounds okay. Fingers crossed. I was getting a lot of weird popping. I changed this thing up here. It won't go away, so I think I'm going to take it off for tonight. Maybe I can change it while we're live. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. Nocturnal Nerdcast. I put up a video earlier today talking about what we were going to be discussing tonight as a promo video. I'm going to try and do more of those earlier in the day so people know what we're going to be discussing. But yeah. Are you feeling better? I'm feeling much better. I still have a little bit of like phlegm, which is gross, I know. Sorry. But yeah, I'm over the actual cold, I think now, which is cool. The watching a game. Okay, that's no problem, Ethan. It's good to see you. What's up, Lone Wolf? How are you doing? Michael in the house. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone on stream and in chat are doing well. If not, I hope things are better for you. Get better for you. Well, thank you so much. It's actually storming here right now. So I was worried. I'm like, all the issues I've had with making streams happen, the last thing I need is a storm to come through and knock out my power. So we'll be, fingers crossed on that as well, that goes through fine. Because I started a little bit early tonight. And the reason why we started a little early is I want to check my, what's up, 3Dub? How you doing? I want to check my analytics because some people were saying they would like if I started a little bit earlier. So I think as we get into the summer, I might like adjust a little bit. We'll see like where the numbers are and everything. But tonight we are going to be talking about a couple of things here. The Minecraft movie is the big topic, and we're not going to spoil it. Darren's already seen it, but we're not going to spoil it. I don't want to spoil any major plot points. I just want general thoughts on it or whatever. So if you're in the chat and you have seen it, please don't spoil it for anybody else. But there's a lot to discuss. And I wanted to talk about it primarily because I had a really strong opening weekend. I think that says a lot about what I was talking about the last couple weeks, about what viewers are looking for, expectations, things like that. We're going to take a look at all the records that it's broken so far. I think this might be the first big movie this year in terms of like money. Even without positive word of mouth, I foresee this movie probably doing solid. I don't think there's a lot of competition for it over the next couple weeks.
April is empty.
Yeah. So if you're going to the movies with your family, this is what you're going to go see.
Yeah.
Most likely. So there's that. Cullen says, I'm glad the Minecraft movie did so well because I'm an Xbox fan, and for another video game movie, we need a good win. Yeah. What's up, Anchorman? How are you doing? I have a little fan running in the background. Can you hear that? Is it annoying?
A little bit, but
a little bit.
It's not noticeable.
Yeah, I might turn it off if it gets a little bit too loud. I should have moved it off the desk, but I forgot to do that. How are you doing, Darren? I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a week or so because you haven't been available. What's going on with you? How are things going?
Not too bad. It's been pretty fun. Storms here as well. It's just like Ohio weather. It's like rain or snow or sunshine. Like every day, it's a different kind of weather here. But it's been like a fun like couple weeks. Like I don't know how much of it on your side, like you've been talking, but like we had that Avenger chairs. We had like CinemaCon. We had everyone putting out their trailers, so it feels like every day there's a big, huge thing to talk about.
Yeah, you missed the trailer stream where we watched a bunch of trailers.
I really wanted to make that because that was such a huge like news week. But it's I think it's a fun time to be a fan because I think we're heading into a lot of really fun projects either about to come out or about to start filming, and there's a lot of like fun tidbits there. But I'm good.
Cool, well, that's good to hear. Let's do this. See if that works. I think that did it. I'm trying to change this to the April. Our weather's actually been really nice, with the exception of pollen.
Oh, wow.
Like we've had a lot of pollen, but other than that, it's been nice weather. So tonight is really interesting. It's going to be kind of a cooler night, but that is what it is. I guess it's this time of year. It's always up and down. Let's see here. I'm going to put on some background music. I also have a little interview that James Gunn did at CinemaCon. I think it was at CinemaCon. Talking about Superman. Have you seen it yet? It's like a little 7-minute video or something.
I've seen like clips of it, but I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing.
I think if we have time, depending on how long this Minecraft thing does, we might watch that clip as well. Also, chat, if you're looking at the donation goal for tonight, and you're on the Reloaded channel, it is going to be 10 super chats of light blue or higher, which I think is the lowest tier. If we reach it, we got some really cool bonuses in there. Actually, tonight, we're going to cover, or I'm going to cover 2 of the bonuses you guys already paid for, which is top 5 worst Marvel. I think it was Heroes. Was it Heroes? I think it was Heroes. I think that was what it was. But it could be characters as well for live action Marvel stuff. And top 5 worst DC live action characters. Those are the ones that I have. So it's either heroes or characters. I don't know. It's a list. And so I put my little list together. And the criteria can be anything, really. So, we'll get to that towards the end of the stream. But, yeah. I was also looking. You know, it's really weird, Darren. I know I've talked about this briefly, but I was going through my analytics. I do it like every couple weeks. Just looking and seeing what the numbers look like. And, of course, we have a great community over here. You guys in the chat are amazing. You're always here. You're always engaged. Leaving likes, leaving comments, things like that. All of that looks good. My actual watch time is really good. I'm always covering current topics on the channel. Usually breaking topics, things that are relative within 48 hours of them coming out. But YouTube doesn't like to promote my channel. It's a little frustrating because I'm like, why is it that we've been doing the Nerdcast now for a little over a year, I think. And I'm like, what do I have to do as a channel, as a content creator, for YouTube to take a look and go, hey, this person's getting a lot of live viewers. They've got a lot of interaction. People are clicking on their videos. All their numbers look good. They're topical. It's not clickbait. Like, what do I have to do? It's a little frustrating because it makes people want to bail on channels. It makes people want to bail on their existing channel because obviously on my Debunks channel, that one gets promoted properly because it's a relatively new channel. My Reloaded channel that people have been here forever, because we talk about Arrowverse and all that stuff, they don't want to promote it. It's like they just ignore that the channel even exists. And it's really frustrating because I actually think they want people to just continue to endlessly start channels. That's what it feels like.
Sure.
Because I'm not trying to I have no delusions of grandeur. You know, I like a smaller, more organic community, but I'd like for YouTube to at least notice once in a while and go, hey, we're going to, you know, like when you see a video and recommended, you're on your homepage and you're like clicking through videos and you see like, oh, here's a channel I've never heard of. I don't get on that page. They don't recommend my videos. It's really kind of frustrating. Again, I don't know what the magic word is for that to happen. It is a lot of luck involved with it. But like even with your channel, and I know you also like having a smaller community, you do topical stuff. Have you had a video that's ever blown up randomly because it was recommended or no?
Blown up? No.
Yeah, right.
I'm, again, very small. So, like, when I get, like, a 500 or 600, I'm like, oh, that's fantastic for me. But, like, yeah, that's very, very rare for me. And, again, I'm a much smaller channel than yours, so it's definitely a slightly different scenario. But, like, you're right. It's hard. It's hard. Unless you already have that like established fan base, or you're doing the like lucky things that the algorithm wants, it's hard to get noticed on the platform. It just is. There's just too many people doing it.
I don't think YouTube is killing. They're just not helping the channel. It's not killing the channel. They're just not helping it. Like, I don't think I'm on some weird blacklist because I know some people are like, oh, YouTube is shadow banned me. I don't think that's the case. I think shadow ban is such a weird thing to accuse YouTube of doing. I think YouTube just has a finite amount of ways to promote channels. And unless you get noticed by them somehow, they just ignore you. And especially if you're an old channel. I mean, my channel's been around since like the mid-2000s. So to them, it's like, I would probably say there's very few channels on YouTube right now that are still operating that were created when I created my channel.
Sure.
I mean, if I were looking at the channels that are really big, I would say most of them are within like a 10-year period. They've been created, most likely. Maybe even less than that. Unless
you're like the like huge jumbo channels like a
a
Mythical and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, a lot of the people that I used to make videos with back in the day are still around on social media. They're just not making videos on YouTube anymore. So it's kind of weird. Hey, what's up, BTM Reviews? How are you? How are you doing? I need to go through. I'm subscribed to channels long dead. I should probably go through and clean up my subscription at some point. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's like I'll see a channel that isn't making content anymore that I used to watch a long time ago, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go look at their channel again. I haven't watched it in forever, so that's always kind of fun. All right, so enough of that. We've been talking. It is 12 minutes, which means we are past the buffer point. Thanks everybody for being here. We have a few super chats. I guess we should probably take a look at those, and then we'll get into the Minecraft topic. So Silhouette Animator with a $5 super chat says, random thing I noticed on the CW Gotham Knights social media account. They updated again after 2 years saying missing our hashtag Gotham Knights today. What? That is random. Do you miss Gotham Knights, dear?
a little bit. I was one of the rare people that actually enjoyed that show. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's amazing, but I wanted to see what it would have. I would have liked a second season to see where it would have gone.
Silhouette Animator with a $2 super chat again says, I'm weird for CW for the random update on that. I think, we said this a couple years ago. I still stand by this because I miss the days of like 23 episode TV. So I still feel like at a certain point, okay, people are going to look back and miss this era of TV where shows used to be longer than 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Because you miss a lot of that filler stuff where characters do dumb shit or go on these little one-off adventures and stuff. You don't get those with the shorter seasons.
No, and I'm wondering how long until they try and bring it back, because I think within the next 5 years, what's going to happen is they're going to realize, oh, people are now nostalgic for the 22 episode season, and that's going to now become a market. That's going to become a gimmick for them. It's going to be people being like, oh, can we bring back the feeling of Lost, of Buffy, of all these kind of shows? And I know some network shows are still doing it, like a weird example, but like Disney Channel is still doing it, and they have like their 18 episode seasons and stuff like that. But I do wonder until channels like ABC and stuff like that are like, oh, let's try and bring it back as like a gimmick. Yeah.
I don't know why it is that the streaming services can't do that many episodes per season. I wonder what the reason is, because I know they spend money on high production value for like some shows like
Sure.
I don't know, Wheel of Time, House of the Dragon, things like that. But why can't we get I don't know, what am I talking, like a Riverdale 23 episodes, something that isn't expensive that you can make relatively cheap. And I'm using Riverdale as an example because of the fact that it was a very inexpensive show for the CW in the beginning. It got more expensive as time went on, but it was inexpensive in the beginning. So, like, say for example, they wanted to do sort of a drama surrounding a family in a small town, like a mystery show. Why can't that be 20 episodes long? What's the reason for that not being 20 episodes? It's an inexpensive show to make.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I think they feel like they want to, there's a level of quality, I guess, they're trying to do with their streaming shows. But when there's no TV option for the lower quality content, then the lower quality content just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's an issue for me. But another $5 super chat from Silhouette Animator. Thank you so much. That's 3 out of 10, you guys. Sentry Doomsday Theory. I think his powers won't work in the Battle World Void Dimension, the origin of his powers, so that gives Doom an edge. Maybe? We don't really know what the origin of his powers are going to be in the movies. In the comics, we know that Brian Michael Bendis made them very complicated. Essentially, I think there's like two origins or two types of origins that we know of for Sentry that people think about. The one is the super soldier serum that was basically enhanced to give him tons of power. It was like 10,000 suns or whatever it says with the powers and whatnot. And then there's the one theory where an alien symbiotic creature got into the super soldier serum, and that's how that affected and made his powers work. So there's those two things. We don't really know how he's going to get his powers in the MCU. Anyway, I mean, this sounds like it could be a possible way to depower him a little bit. But I think we have to understand that Doom is going to have access, if it's like the comics, Doom will have access to Doctor Strange as his, like, second in command. He will have access to Galactus as one of his enforcers. He's going to have access to Franklin Richards, who can warp reality. And he's got access to a bunch of different variants of Thor. So Sentry is powerful, but Sentry alone would have a tough... Like, if you had a team... Just a random number. If you had, like, 10 Thors on a team together, that would be a battle that Sentry would have to, like, actually... And, you know, he would have to think hard how to win in that battle.
Sure.
So I don't think it's going to be a walkover type situation or whatever. Anyway. Sentry's powerful, but he's not, like, unstoppable. Lone Wolf here, a team member for 53 months. Says, are you going to check out Black Mirror's season 7 on Thursday? I'm going to watch it, but the thing about Black Mirror for me is technology and society is moving so quickly that they're almost running out of things to Black Mirror, basically. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of that stuff feels like it's too real, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but I'll definitely check it out. Thank you, Lone Wolf. All right, so let's get into this. Let's take a look. We looked at this a few times, but I think this is a good way to kick this off. Minecraft movie had a very strong weekend, and we're going to look at those numbers here in a second. But I want to reiterate where this movie is in terms of, like, the aggregated scores on Rotten Tomatoes, because everyone's still talking about... I wish we would stop talking about Rotten Tomatoes, but we have to because everyone else does. There's no way to discuss a movie without bringing this up because it's always a topic. So critics have pretty much done reviewing the movie, and it sits at 48%. That's where it's at. And the fan score is 88%, which means most people had a favorable view of the film. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I am not going to be talking about the quality of the movie like as a first-person perspective. This is not going to be me going, the movie was fantastic. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I can only talk about what I've read online and what people have told me. However, Darren has seen the movie.
I have.
So before we start talking about numbers and sales and all of that stuff, would you mind, if you could, to give us your thoughts on the film and then how these scores look to you in terms of what your opinion of the movie is? If you could.
I think this is a valid score, to be honest.
Okay.
I should also say, I should preface by saying I didn't grow up on Minecraft. I'm not a Minecraft fan. I went into it from the perspective because I wanted my narrative to be like, hey, what is this movie to someone as a casual audience, as someone who doesn't know every reference, every Easter egg, every character? Okay. That was my perspective going in. I thought it was awful. Okay. From that perspective, right?
And without spoiling it, like, can you give a little, like, some examples of why you thought it was awful based on being like a non-fan of Minecraft?
Yeah, no, of course. Like, it's a movie that lacks a lot of substance. It's a movie that does a lot of, hey, look at this thing. You know this thing. Hey, we're doing this thing. Very thin characters, very thin plots. Like, I think, like, I don't like saying, like, objectively, but, like, there are, like, objective problems with a movie like this. But I did walk out of the theater being like, hey, I don't think this is very good. With that being said, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing all the time. And I think in this case, there were so many smiles on people's faces. Kids were having a blast. The whole theater erupted. This is a prime example of, like, a movie can be bad. That doesn't mean there isn't what do I want to say? Like, it doesn't mean that it's not warranted to have a movie exist, right?
Right.
Like a movie can suck and people can still love a bad movie.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like how many bad movies are cult classic? You know, Space Jam and stuff like that, right? So it's like, not for me. I thought it was awful, but I'm so glad people are getting so much enjoyment out of this.
Okay.
And it seems like the people that were going to love Minecraft, or like the people that it was made for, are enjoying the movie.
That was my next question to you is this one of those times where the movie was made primarily with the actual fans of Minecraft in mind?
100%.
Okay.
I think if you don't know the lore, if you don't know the references, you will not love this movie.
Okay.
It is primarily for the fans. You're just not going to get it.
So this is one of those times where the studio was like, we want to make something specifically for just this niche audience, which a lot of people have said that's what Marvel should be doing. That's what DC should be doing.
Sure.
I sort of disagree when it comes to that stuff. But I think with Minecraft, because it is the #1 game in the world, it's the biggest game of all time. I think when we're talking about a game like Minecraft, a game that is so accessible that so many people have had options to play, it's free for most, like on most platforms, you can play it for free. I think there is an argument to be made that you wanted this to be just for the fans. Sure. I think there is an argument to be made there. Now, I actually think that what you're telling me just sort of helps me with my discussion, my debate, my argument about like what films and studios and executives should be doing, the level of quality they should be putting into stuff. But before we talk about that and we look at the numbers, do you agree or disagree with these scores at all? Like, how do you feel about the scoring here on Rotten Tomatoes? Do you think it's around a 50%? Would you have gone lower than that with your score? Or
I mean, personally, mine, like, it's much lower in my score, but like, I think this is a good representation of what this movie is. Like, critically, in my opinion, not a good movie. But for the fans, for people that are just wanting to shut their brain off, have fun, just to like pop. I don't even know if I'd call it like a good popcorn flick, but like people are having fun with it, and you know what? I think that's a good representation of that story.
I actually think that the current climate that we're in, whether it be social or political or whatever, I think that people want a brain turn-off movie right now. I think that's kind of what people want, because a lot of people, and I think maybe we've discussed it. It's hard for me to remember who was in the chat when we talked about it, but I think maybe you had talked about this. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But there are a lot of people who have argued that they just want to go have a good time and they don't want any sort of like real world stuff in their movies. And I think that's a valid criticism for you as an individual person. Like if you're like, I want to go see these types of movies, that's a valid criticism, I think. But I don't think that's a good criticism for everything. You know what I mean?
It's such a slippery slope, though, because if we start doing that, it's like, do we lose the substance of
I think
art?
we do.
Yeah.
I think we do. I think we lose a lot of it. And your criticism of this movie tells me that when you do subtract things like that from a film, it does affect, in some regards, like the quality of the film itself. Because you have a brain turn off film, then you take all of the heart and soul out of it, essentially.
You do. And I think a big part of the enjoyment of this movie, I do think this is a so bad it's good situation for many people. Like, I think even the people that are loving this movie, I think most people would agree, hey, not a great movie, right? Like, this isn't winning any awards. I think most people would agree with that statement.
This isn't Morbius or Craven. It's like, it's a different situation, right? Because those movies are so bad, they're bad. Like, people just don't want to watch them.
Yeah, like, but like, I also think that's putting it in a dangerous situation. So when you're putting out a bad movie, from my perspective, like when you're putting out things I think could have, put in more work, could have been written better, blah, 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 studios see this and be like, we can put that amount of effort into everything.
That's a really good point.
A lot of money.
Exactly. Let's look at these numbers and then I want to follow up on that. So it says history's been made. Actuals are in for Minecraft movie blockbuster 3-day opening weekend at U.S. box office. By the way, shout out to Louise here, always giving like really good neutral numbers and information about these movies. And this is what I like. I like to be able to pull raw information like this. So Jack Black and Jason Momoa's PG game adaptation beats Barbie as number 3 highest grossing opening of all time for Warner Brothers. Which, by the way, Warner Brothers is probably ecstatic about this because they've really needed a win for a while.
Yeah.
So, grossing 162.8 million, which is all domestic. Biggest opening for Warner Brothers. This was unbelievable. Post-COVID.
Yeah.
So this is their biggest movie since the COVID lockdowns. And
bigger than Barbie.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Number 21 biggest weekend of all time in the U.S. Holy shit. Biggest 3-day weekend ever for video game adaptations, beating the Super Mario Brothers, 146.2 million. Biggest 3-day weekend since Deadpool and Wolverine last July. Number 3, biggest weekend ever for April, beating Furious 7's 147.2. Only below, this is crazy, Endgame and Infinity War.
Crazy.
When we start talking about the value of art and stuff, I'm really going to have a lot to say when we get there with this, like the quality of movies. It beats Inside Out's 154.1 million as number 4 biggest 3-day opening weekend for a PG-rated film. Only under Lion King, Incredibles 2, and Beauty and the Beast. Warner Brothers' top 5 biggest openings ever. Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2, Batman v Superman. Oh, wow, Batman. That's right, they did have a good opening weekend for Batman v Superman. Minecraft movie, Barbie, and The Dark Knight Rises. It says, Minecraft movies, 162.8 million 3-day opening weekend at U.S. Office Breakdown. And then it goes through and talks about each individual night. And I believe, he doesn't say here because he usually only talks about domestic numbers. I think they did 300 worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's at 300 now. Yeah.
Wow.
It's made its budget back.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the quality of stuff when you have things like this happen and why there might be two sides of the story. So I think there's definitely a market for kid and family movies that don't do anything groundbreaking, that are just, they exist for fun. Okay. I said this and I got a lot of pushback in the comments. Okay. That kids and families don't necessarily look for the same thing in movies as critics and diehard fandoms do. Yeah. Like, they're not viewing movies the same way. This justifies my statements because whether or not the movie goes on to be massively successful, I mean, it could be a $1 billion movie. I think it looks like it could, if it stays on track
I think
for this month, it could be a $1 billion movie. Yeah. So kids don't look at for entertainment the same way adults do. And I've looked around, I've seen videos of kids going crazy in the theaters watching this movie. Yeah. Having such a good time with this film. Because like you were saying, it speaks to the Minecraft fans. Like those kids that play the game seem to be loving the movie. So much that it's annoying people in theaters who are like, kids are throwing popcorn and doing all this crazy stuff. And they're having a good time. Look, I'm not saying you should be disruptive in theaters, but that tells me that this movie got a reaction from the people watching it. And that's something we haven't had in a while.
Let me add a little bit to that, though, because I don't know how much of it is actually genuine, though, is the thing. Right? Like, we saw in Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, that was, I think, the first time on that scale where we were having these huge, genuine reactions on the big screen. I think there's some people that are having a blast with the movie, having fun, but I think a lot of it is also done beforehand. Like, a lot of this movie and its success is the meme culture of it. People knew going in what they were going to cheer at, what they were going to make a big thing as. There were quotes, there were memes, there were phrases in this movie that were like, and I don't know how many of those videos you've seen of people going absolutely ballistic at just these memes and stuff like that.
Some of them I have seen, yeah.
But like some of it feels very artificial, which I sometimes don't love. Like if you are in a movie and you're having a genuine reaction, that's incredible. I never want to take that away from you. But when you are being over obnoxious, when you are causing a scene on purpose, when you're throwing your popcorn, when you are having like police being called to movie theaters because you're being too disrupted, when people, I don't know if you saw it, there's a video where like one of the attendants got slammed like to the ground.
I saw that one because there's one where the cops were called because of it. So
I think there has to be a balance. Like, it makes me so happy so many people are enjoying this, but it can't come at the expense of other people's enjoyment.
No, I agree with that.
Like,
100%.
My theater experience was a lot less tame than some of the others, but there were groups of people that were screaming, they were yelling. Those weren't the kids. Those weren't kids doing that. Those were, like, 18, 19, 20... Do
you think they still grew up playing Minecraft? Like, they know the game? Okay.
Yeah, but also I have to imagine, what does that look like from their perspective, right?
Right.
Like those kids are just wanting to enjoy a fun movie. Those parents, what are the parents' perspective on a scene like that, where they're like, what is happening? I just wanted to take my kids for a fun night out, and all these older kids are, causing a ruckus, causing a thing, So it's like, again, there has to be a balance there, I think.
So let's just kind of brush through some of these numbers here. So biggest opening of the year ahead of Captain America Brave New World, which had 88.8. Record opening for a movie based on video game. Warner Brothers Legendary Co-Production. It's ahead of Dark Knight Rises. Largest Friday, Saturday, Sunday opening since Deadpool and Wolverine. Jack Black's biggest domestic opening. Jason Momoa's biggest domestic opening. Warner Brothers' largest 3-day, Kume in April. Biggest Saturday of all time for Warner Brothers.
That's crazy.
Warner Brothers' biggest Sunday of all time. The only film in box office history to open over 50 million is See No Drop Saturday. In history. The only one. Overall biggest industry weekend of 2025 year to date. Largest PG opening in April. Director Jared Hess's biggest opening, Daniel Brooks' biggest opening, Jennifer Coolidge's biggest opening. Warner Brothers' third largest opening of all time, third biggest opening in April, fourth biggest opening ever for PG movie. Second highest opening for a legendary co-production. The number one video game adaptation in 38 markets. Wow. The number one Jack Black opening in 32 markets. The number one Jason Momoa opening in 25 markets. Biggest international opening for a Warner Brothers title since Barbie. For Latin America, the biggest opening weekend of 2025 and Jack Black's biggest live action opening weekend. So I want to remind people something as I'm reading these international numbers. The reason why this movie I think is doing well internationally, or doing so well, is it's a video game that everybody can play. This isn't...
Yep.
It isn't something that necessarily needs a lot of explanation. This is a game, it's the biggest game in the world, and it touches every corner of the world. So people around the world are going to see this movie because everyone has had the opportunity to at least play this game once. Mm-hmm. Some people play it all the time. Some people have been playing Minecraft since it came out, and they're still playing it now.
Yeah. It like, as a Gen Z, like, it defined a generation. I was never into the game. I never played much of it, but like, my cousins played it, my friends played it, my family members played it. Like, even if you don't know Minecraft, you know Minecraft. Like, you at least know of it in some way.
Yeah. So, the next thing I want to talk about is the way that the industry takes messages like this. So, my message would be, like, if I were looking at this and going, like, what can I take away from this? It would be that modern IP is really popular. Not everything has to be nostalgic. We don't have to look to the 80s and 90s to reboot everything. It's not necessary. We don't have to think too hard about making something work. If we pick the right thing, you can just make a fun film, and that's enough for most people. Clearly, all of the haters online that were mad because a black woman was in the movie were wrong. They were mad that Jason Momoa was getting emasculated because he's wearing pink and having a good time. Yeah. So maybe diversity is it get woke, get rich? Is that what it is now, apparently, I guess, with this movie? So The idea, like, I want to touch on that for a second. The idea that DEI or diversity being in something automatically means it's going to fail. This movie disproves that, because that's what they said about this movie. They said it about other movies in the past. So the idea that multiple types of people being in something means that it's automatically going to be bad, which is a dumb take anyway. That is one of the dumbest takes. But the idea that it's automatically going to be bad, this should be another reminder that's not the case. It comes down to really what the project is. Like, how much they care about it, how much they care about the characters, the story. The idea that just diversity being in something means it's going to be bad is such a stupid way to look at these things.
And that's unfortunate too, because unfortunately they give her nothing in this movie.
I've heard that, yes.
Unfortunately, I love this actress. She's incredible.
I've loved her since Orange is the New Black, so...
Unfortunately, the character with the least amount of screen time, the least amount of story to actually work with, she's a character that's unfortunately just there for the movie, which sucks, because you can already see the people spinning it, being like, oh, it was only good because they didn't use her that much, or whatever. Right. Like, that's what they're going to spin.
Well, I haven't even heard that. I've watched a couple reviews from, like, the typical, like, bad accounts here on YouTube, and most of them are saying that she was pointless in the movie. Mm-hmm. But even if she was pointless in the movie, their arguments have always been surface level complaints about diversity. Yeah. So just her being there didn't tank the film's opening weekend. So that kind of disproves their entire argument. But they're going to keep saying it anyway because they're all idiots. But it is what it is. So I hope that what they take away from this, what Hollywood takes away from this, is that you can give the fans something fun, something referential, something modern that doesn't have to tug on 40 years of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. I also think this might be a good example, like if we're looking at Snow White, because I would say Snow White is the most recent kid/family movie before this film came out, like big IP, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, and you didn't have a favorable opinion of Snow White either. You thought it was just average, right? You said
I like it, but it's clearly got some issues. It's clearly got flaws, yeah.
I would say if I were Disney, I wouldn't necessarily change everything that I'm doing, because I think that's a bad, like a knee-jerk reaction. But I would definitely be looking around at creating some stuff that pulls from more modern nostalgia.
Do you have that Tangled article or that Tangled post?
I had it last week, but we didn't dive too much into it. I'll get it ready. We can pull it up. But I will say, the reason why I'm saying that is we've complained about how quickly they will reboot or continue stories with Disney. Moana 2 is a really good example of why you don't have to look back 100 years. Like, I know that, it wasn't the greatest movie. I think the third act is the best act of that movie, but Moana is a relatively new IP compared to a lot of other stuff that Disney has. And people really wanted that second movie. They wanted that follow-up to that film. I think trying to go back and reclaim Snow White probably was a bad idea. And I think I even said before that the reason why they're doing it is they want to reclaim that film and bring that IP back. I think they could have done it another way. I don't think Rachel Zegler was the problem with the movie. Everything I've heard about it is people say she's the best part of the movie. Maybe they should have done an animated movie and just had her voice Snow White. I don't know. I have no idea.
So that comes in another issue I think we're going to be finding with the Rapunzel thing, which maybe we can talk about in a second. But like Lilo and Stitch, I think is going to be a big test, right? Things like Lilo and Stitch, things like Moana next year, like that live action reboot, is they're going to see, it's maybe no longer profitable to reboot things from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and now we have to do all 2000 stuff. That is what's nostalgia right now, and something that you've talked about. Snow White doesn't have a nostalgia base anymore. Minecraft does. Yeah. So I think that's what we're probably going to do.
I mean, let's look at a lot of the well-received stuff we've had, like the Sonic movie. Even Super Mario Brothers is still more recent than Snow White is. So, like, I think we're looking back so much at rebooting and reworking everything from the 80s because they're trying to, or at least what I think Hollywood was trying to do was cater to my generation.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do. And my generation is just fine watching the old stuff. Most people my generation would prefer to watch the old stuff, to be quite honest, right? Yeah. So I think we've reached that point where now it's time to stop looking back to the 80s and go, hey, what do we have in the 90s and the early 2000s that people may really want to see continue on with? I think that might be the next thing.
And like, I've thought about this a good bit. Like, I do think in some ways, I think people are getting a little tired of nostalgia. I think they at least want to feel like things are in the present. Like, they're watching new things without necessarily it being new things. So I do think the reboot era is going to be coming to an end here very shortly. And I think we're heading into another sequel era. I really do. Like, I know
we're heading into what? What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I think we're heading into another sequel era.
Okay.
I think reboots are getting tired. Like, we had sequels and then they went to reboots. I think we're heading back into sequels because
I would be okay with follow-ups on films that I've already loved.
Yeah.
Like, I would be okay with that. You know, a lot of them in their 2000s and 2010s, the people involved in making it are still around making things. So just bring them back in. Like, a good example is Buffy, that Buffy thing they're doing where they're trying to continue that. I would say Buffy, in my opinion, is on the cusp of being aged out. It's right at the end of that.
Close. Yeah.
So that's going to be a real... I think Buffy is going to be one of those properties to keep an eye on to see how well it does. Because if Buffy does not do well, I think it might be time to just jump up like 10 years and stop going back that far. Yeah,
I think Pixar right now is in their like sequel era, right? Like you have Incredibles 3, you have Toy Story 5, you have Coco 2, you have all those things being announced. I do wonder if now with things like Snow White are they now can't guarantee these live action reboots are going to be profitable. I then wonder, like, okay, what can we guarantee?
Right.
What are the sequels, right?
Yeah.
Frozen 3's on the way. Moana 2 made $1 billion. I think they might start looking back and be like, hey, our old movies, instead of rebooting them, what if we did like an Aladdin 2?
Right.
What if we did I don't know.
Well, they were going to do the Tiana thing, and they decided not to do that.
Yeah.
And
instead, did you do Princess and the Frog 2? You know, like
why not? Because it's like that fan base is still there. Just do a sequel to that. Why not? So Ben here says Transformers from the 80s had a good run though, but Transformers is still current. Like they're still making toys and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like it's not gone away like Snow White. Like Snow White vanished for a long time. Like Snow White just wasn't. They weren't doing anything with Snow White for decades, right? But I would also say that Transformers 1 didn't perform well.
No.
So,
Ben has a good point. He-Man comes out next year?
Yeah.
I wonder how that will do.
Yeah, there's a few things to keep an eye on. I think He-Man's one, Buffy is another. Yeah, we'll see. So you want to talk about the Tangled thing here? We can move on for a moment from talking about Minecraft.
Yeah, no, like I think this has been a very interesting conversation because this had come out and everyone's like, they're done with like the live action reboots, it's over, we won. And what I think is very interesting about that is Lilo and Stitch comes out next month.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they are more cautious about what they're rebooting, about what they're making, about what they're putting out, this is going to change their mind really quickly. This is going to remind Disney, oh, reboots can still be profitable for us. Oh, these still, because I think that's going to be, if not $1 billion movie, very, very popular for them. I think it's going to do very well box office wise. I just think we're going to start be having a conversation about what is profitable for us. I think they're going to be becoming a lot more stingy about what we're rebooting, like we were kind of talking about just a little bit ago, maybe touching on a lot of the more modern stuff. I think Lilo and Stitch will probably get a sequel. Maybe focus on a lot more of the sequels to these live action movies that have done well, right? There's been rumors about like a Lion King 2. I know there's been more conversations about maybe going back and doing a sequel to that Aladdin movie that came out in 2019. Those are now like unfortunately what a lot of people know as these characters. So it might be profitable to be like, okay, let's reboot or let's bring back the reboots.
Yeah.
I mean, like, let me ask you though. Like, do you think there's a chance that they're trying to step away from these live action reboots at all?
I think there could be a conversation about like if that makes sense for them. Because I'll be honest, I think the live action remakes have all been hit or miss for me. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like at all.
Sure.
But I think most people forget, and I have to say this almost every time we have this conversation. One movie from Disney not doing well means ultimately very little.
Yeah.
Because Disney is a massive company and all of the money flows into the same place. So with these live action remakes, if you have two of them that perform or underperform, but then you have one that does $2 billion,
yeah,
it all goes to the same place.
Yeah.
So they can pump out 5 or 6 of these and take a hit on half of them if 3 of them are really successful. So I don't think that's really the problem. I don't think that's the issue. I think it comes down to being smart about which ones they're picking. Now, Nitrium here says they need to do one-to-one remakes, not the weird stuff they did with Snow White. I'm going to disagree with this.
Disagree completely.
Yeah. So I think Snow White's biggest mistake was trying too hard to hold on to what the original one was. I think they should have gone even further. I think they should have created a different world completely, created a completely different supporting cast, and did something completely different from what we saw in the original. Because the issue is they were tiptoeing between not trying to piss off the OG fans, but also trying to make it modern for modern fans. And because of that, they weren't able to please anyone.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to do this, if you're going to go far and say, we're just going to do something outside of the box, just do it. That's the way. Well, see, the problem is, though, Lion King isn't 100 years old, Nitrium. We're talking about a movie that is really old. Like, Snow White is so out of date. Look, I'll be honest. Before we even start talking about the one-to-one stuff, Snow White was not popular. It wasn't. Like, you would go to Disneyland, Disney World. It is one of the least popular princesses that Disney had, which is why the remake happened in the first place.
It sucks because, like, we're talking, like, from a business perspective, these are things they should do. But, like, I would prefer remaking Snow White over Lion King, right? I would prefer them remake Pinocchio and Dumbo over Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, because that's how reboots should work. You should reboot the old stuff first, but that's not profitable. That's more risky. That's more lucrative for them. Like, they can I guarantee you, again, Lilo and Stitch, that's going to be a franchise for them. We're going to get Lilo and Stitch 2 and 3, and it's going to be a big thing for them. And
so with this Tangled thing, that was pretty much your point, is that you were asking about whether or not they were going to continue to do the live action stuff and everything. I would go as far to say that if you're going to reboot or remake something from more than 80 years ago, it needs to be a complete overhaul of what it is. Also, you have to be very careful about your casting. Everything I've seen of Gal Gadot was awful.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how she how she got that role to begin with.
I mean, like, she was cast in a time where people loved her, right? Like, it was before Wonder Woman 1989, I think. Like, people were coming off of the first Wonder Woman movie. They really liked her.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the people that are hitting on her now, like, that was a small minority of people. And I hate to say this, like, I mean no disrespect to her, but, like, she was cast on her appearance alone, unfortunately, and that is, like, I hate saying that because that's not a nice thing to say, but, like, I think producers, like, very objectively beautiful woman, a character that's their kind of main motivation, they get cast, right? But you're right, though. Like, I think, again, like, not to go down a rabbit hole, but, like, Snow White was just unlucky from day one. Like, it wasn't like, this is the one reason it failed. It was like, this little thing, and then this little thing, and this little thing, and it's a bunch of things kind of piling together, and that's how most of these things work. Like, Flash is a very similar thing. Flash, like, there wasn't one reason Flash failed. It was 50 things put together. Right. It's why Flash failed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nitrium here says, wrong, Robin Hood core story works even though it's old. Right, because Robin Hood's core story doesn't involve things that are considered socially unacceptable.
Sure.
So Snow White being kissed without consent, there's an age difference between her and the prince. There's a lot of things in that story that just don't translate into modern era unless you're talking about grooming a child. Robin Hood is a story where the fundamental is stealing from the rich to give to the poor. The reason why that's timeless is because that core story doesn't require you to update it. That's why. If Robin Hood was going out and trafficking children, then they would have to change the story, right? I mean, that would be like, that's essentially what we're talking about here. Like, Snow White was an outdated story. It just is. There's no way around it. Snow White was supposed to be a 14-year-old. Like, it's just creepy.
Yeah.
They had to change it. They didn't have a choice. Unless you're going to cast another teenager to play the prince, and that becomes even real fucking weird.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about, here we go. This is going to segue us into the next topic, which is the David Zaslav stuff. So, Warner Brothers film boss Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi are taking a win for a Minecraft movie in a company-wide memo. The largest domestic opening weekend of 2025, the biggest since July, and Warner Brothers' largest opening weekend since 2023. This is truly a world-class achievement. This is what happens when we believe in the power of our creativity, each other, and the strength of storytelling. Now, as funny as that sounds, they're really happy because this is their first big movie in a while. But it seems like, let me get the story pulled up here, that, where's it at? David Zaslav is not very happy with the two of them. Holy crap, how many things did I bookmark before the story? Scroll. He's not very happy with them because apparently he's looking to replace them. Here, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is meeting with the potential candidates to replace film bosses Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, according to a report by Bloomberg, which cited people familiar with the matter. So he's going in and he's getting so a lot of people were saying it was going to be James Gunn and Peter Safran. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, they've got to focus on the DC stuff. Like, don't spread them too thin.
Yeah.
Which was one of the biggest mistakes they did with Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Man, this company is running on luck and a prayer at this point, I feel like. They kind of stumbled into Minecraft. I would say that if this movie were not Minecraft and you had all those actors in another Warner Brothers film, it probably wouldn't have been successful.
It's been luck. Everything they've done, like, look at their last big thing. Barbie, right? Barbie was the last also. And, like, who would have predicted that Barbie was, like, your, like, box office, winner? Like, it's all, like, let's try this random thing. Oh, this one happened to have sticked. Okay, this is great. And it's hard to, like, pinpoint what the problem is at Warner Brothers. Like, is it David? Because he's still relatively newer, right? Like, we're just now starting to see his true effects. By the way, Minecraft was a movie that came out, like, they started working on that back in 2012, right? Like, that's when they were officially like, hey, we want to make a Minecraft movie. And it's been, like, new writer after new writer and stuff like that. So it's like, anyone being like, yes, this is our win, this is our thing. It's like, well, there's been a lot of roads to lead you to this point. Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, they clearly need a change. They do clearly need, and I don't know if that comes down to David, because I would like to see him go. I don't know. I feels like he hasn't done a lot good for the company either. But where does the problem truly lie? Is it him? Or is it the people you're placing the blame to?
I feel like, okay, so this might be a hot take, but if you are someone who is in charge of a company and the company is having problem after problem after problem, you have to take responsibility for that at a certain point because it is your fault. You're the person in charge of everything. So trying to shuffle people around seems like it might correct things, but if the top of the company is rotted, then the rest of the company is going to be rotted. Yeah. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I don't trust anything with David Zaslav at all, in my opinion. All
It
right.
feels very similar to the whole like Bob Iger thing. When he came back, there was a lot of him being like, the reason we're failing is because of this thing and this thing and this thing. Like I don't like Bob Chapek's, right? Like I didn't
Yeah.
like him, but like his whole strategy was like it was all his fault. Everything
Yeah.
that happened was on him and was on these writers and was on this thing. Now that I'm back, I'm going to fix
Yeah.
it. I'm going to make it better. And it feels like that's what he's trying to do here. It's like these two suck. I'm going to get someone better to fix it all, and then I will be great. We will.
Well, but then if they don't, who's responsible then? Is it him for hiring them? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is like at a certain point, it's his fault. You know, that's how I feel about it. We are 3 out of 10 super chats, you guys. Remember, this is the lowest tier, so any support at all is beneficial towards the super chat goal. So again, we are actually 3 out of 10. Yeah, 3 out of 10, 7 away from our goal. We have 1 hour left on the goal. I would really like to get there because we have some really cool options in the poll. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it. Before we start talking about a few other topics, I did have a comment here that I wanted to highlight, and then we're going to wrap up the stuff about Snow White. So, Nitram here says, yes, but if you just make her 18, would that be the only thing that would need changing to bring it into the future? No, because, well, actually that would ruin the story. And I'll explain why. But I think the issue is still consent. That's still a problem, whether you're 18 or whether you're 18 or 17 or 14. It doesn't matter. But the story of Snow White hinges a lot on the innocence of youth. Like, that's what it is. It's at the core, it is about this naive young woman, this child, who is going out into the world and experiencing the world through brand new eyes. And part of that, the youth of her, is what makes the witch want her. Because she's such a sweet young child. That's like the core of the story. So the minute you take her from being a child to an adult, it changes almost everything about that. It makes all of it different because it's no longer about an older person, an old witch preying on a child. It's a witch versus another woman at that point.
I mean, I think they did age her up, right?
They did a little bit, yeah, but I think I think it's a nondescript age in the film, though. I don't think it's like it's mentioned or whatever. But even that alone changes the dynamics of the movie because of all of it. I mean, the idea that she trusts someone with a poisoned apple, you know what I mean? Like the idea that the witch would be going after another woman is less disturbing than going after a child. There's a reason why the age is important. And a lot of it has to do with innocence. So explicitly making her 18 would only fix the fact that she was underage, considered, opposite the prince. But then there's still a consent issue, and then it ruins the rest of the story because once you've aged her up, she's no longer a child that needs help. She's just another person. And then that changes, like, yes, you want to help other people, but that changes the core of what Snow White is about with the witch going after youth. So I don't think that's enough.
Yeah. And like they did a really weird thing because like they changed so much in that movie, much of which I think are great improvements. I think they make some really good ones. But like there are still very like big things that were problems in the original they don't quite fix. Like the whole kissing thing with the love interest felt like one of the big issues in that movie that happened so fast is like she falls in love so fast.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just keep that. Like she still falls in love instantly, and there's still like an unconsented kiss that happens in the movie. It's like, well, I thought that's why you were rebooting it, was to change some of those issues that don't fully age as well.
Yeah. I appreciate this, Nitrium, dropping $1 there for giving that detailed answer for a regular chat. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have a super chat here from Staggervore, 49 super chat. I remember hearing speculation that Zaslav will replace Mike and Pam with just Peter Safran. I could see that, but Peter Safran isn't an idea person. He's like a finance guy. So I don't know if he would be someone capable of creatively greenlighting projects the way other people can. And maybe he could. I'm not saying he can't, but I think he's just a money guy, right? I don't know. I feel like that's where he's at, but could be wrong. Let's see here. Should we, because it's only a little 7-minute clip, should we watch the interview? Would you guys want to watch the interview with James Gunn and the cast of Superman? I think that might be fun. Good. Jennifer says that's where the Disney trip started. LOL. Hi, everyone. Yeah, exactly. The damsel in distress stuff. Yeah. Let's see here. Go ahead and share this. You guys have to let me know if it sounds okay. I'll actually stop the background music just for this. Thank you, Maddie, because I like the background music. Thank you. I'll turn it back on when we get done. I just like to have, I don't like dead air. All right. So here we go. This is an interview, it's actually 8 minutes. That's fine. We'll get through it. It's an interview with the cast of Superman with James Gunn. A lot of people are saying that he throws shade at Zack Snyder. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but
I haven't seen the clip. I've seen people say it, but I haven't seen what the context is.
If I hear any shade, I'll call it out. But we'll see. Let's listen to this.
Back here in the Fandango studio with the cast, I'm so excited to say this, of Superman and the creator, filmmaker of said film. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Can you tell I'm very excited? I love Superman.
Why did I say hi so much faster than you guys? Why did it take you so long to say
I think we thought a question was coming or something.
It is coming, I promise.
Okay. No.
I promise you. I'm going to start out with you, James. We are here at CinemaCon. There's some footage that you just showed. So what can you talk about as a companion piece to the footage? Is there anything that you can talk about what was shown today?
Well, I mean, we showed a little bit of the beginning of the movie, which is, not the whole beginning of
the beginning. This is the beginning of the movie.
Interesting.
So it's not the Ultraman fight. Remember you weren't here, but I said I thought this was going to be the battle between Ultraman. But if this is the beginning of the movie, this can't be Ultraman. It has to be something else.
No. I think it's that giant monster we see in the trailer.
The kaiju at the beginning.
Purple, yeah.
Makes sense. That's a little spoilery, but not necessarily a bad spoiler, but it does tell us a little bit here about what the movie is. So
about as a companion piece to the footage, is there anything that you can talk about what was shown today?
Well, I mean, we showed a little bit of the beginning of the movie, which is, not the whole beginning of the movie, but sort of a truncated version of that. You get to see, Superman's unique
it's a longer. That's
with
a clip
crypto,
that's been
and
edited.
then it led into some other footage where you get to see little bits of the romance between Lois and the hatred of this young man here is burning with hatred. I hired him because I said, this man is so full of hatred.
I can feel that.
Look at this face.
I hate being here right now.
Yeah.
I hate you touching me.
Yeah.
I hate Fandango.
Look at him cringe.
That is honestly the best soundbite I think we've ever had.
I hate Fandango.
We'll be using
He should have said it in his Lex voice. That would have been funnier, but it's fine.
that forever, by the way. You literally just led me into the questions that I have for all of you. Can you talk about the relationship that Superman has with Krypto? Why do they need each other in this film? And what do they bring out in each other?
Krypto needs Superman. Superman doesn't need Krypto.
Okay.
Krypto's just been it's sort of a foster situation. Superman is taking care of this dog.
There we go. So it's definitely Supergirl's dog. Because that was one of the questions we had, is whether or not it's his dog. That answers the question. So that's Supergirl's dog, and he's watching the dog. Okay.
He loves dogs, as most people do. But Krypto, as James has described, is the worst dog in the world with superpowers. So he's always destroying the Fortress of Solitude and
oh my god,
hunting wildlife and just always getting into trouble.
Hunting wildlife?
Although there's a great love.
Wait, hold on for a second. Hunting wildlife? Is this dog like killing bears and stuff? Like, what is going on?
That's scary. What if he goes after like humans or
right? Like,
just
what is he even hunting? To be honest, like, hunting wildlife. All right. That also explains he's the worst dog. That would explain why he jumps on Superman as soon as he sees him on the ground. So
yeah.
Look, Omega says Krypto chasing down penguins and seals. Maddie says better see him hunting polar bears.
He's always destroying the Fortress of Solitude and hunting wildlife and just always getting into trouble, never listening. And although there's a great love and affection between Superman and dog, it's honestly more trouble than it's worth.
And does it build? Does Krypto win Superman over, or is he just a big pain in the butt
Well,
for
you'll
the whole
just
thing?
have to watch
Such a
the
spoiler.
film, won't you?
You know what? At the end of the movie, he decides he hates crypto. He kicks him out to take care of himself. And no, I mean,
This is like turning into like, I hate Fandango, we hate the dog.
Yeah.
This is like,
It's just what this film needs is a little more negativity.
We're getting
Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know if that was supposed to be shade or not, but that's funny. So addressing it head on is kind of funny to me. Because actually the hate around this movie's gotten a little ridiculous. I mean, a lot ridiculous, actually. There's people like sharing one frame of the trailer where his face looks a little weird in the frame, and they're like, is this supposed to be Superman? It's like, you're sharing a frame from a moving scene.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, what?
Before we begin.
positive, he's the positive, happy. You said that this was your mantra on set, that everybody had to be kind, and this was,
That's right. That's
we're going to
right.
bring that kindness and positivity. For you, can you talk about?
Do I look the kindest and most positive of the bunch?
Yeah, I'm going to you to bring it back to the positive side, Rachel. It's all on you. You have said that in this story, you're madly in love with Lois, but Lois is not so sure. So can you talk about why, how? sort of
Lois
how
is
it
the
begins?
unsure one. Okay, that's interesting.
Giving away the
Apparently,
whole
I've been
damn
trying
movie.
not to say this whole week.
I know. They never know what to say. So they're sitting. Here's what this experience is like for them. I set the rules for what we give up from the movie, and they are well trained. They are much better than certain other actors I've worked with.
They're
where
better trained than Crypto.
They're like, I don't want to give away anything.
What? Who is he talking about?
I don't know.
I mean, it would have been some of the Guardians actors, obviously.
Maybe. Suicide Squad, maybe.
Oh, maybe. I didn't think about that.
John Cena, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Did Chris Pratt say something wrong?
I don't think so. I feel like the Guardians I mean, he didn't direct Tom Holland 3 Dubs. That wasn't his directing debut. Unless Tom Holland was in a...
Oh, I wonder if it's Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo has said a lot of weird shit.
Maybe.
That might be who he's talking about.
For what we give up from the movie, and they are well trained. They are much better than certain other actors I've worked with.
They're better trained than Crypto.
They're like, I don't want to give away anything, so they're dating. Okay, we can say they're dating. They're dating.
Do you want to confer first?
You know,
and then
and
you
so
can answer?
yes.
You
Well,
tell
the
him
answer
panicking?
is yes. I think you're less certain of the relationship
No,
than he is.
I know that,
Yeah,
but I just don't know what I'm allowed to say.
No. But I think that we can say. I think
Okay. So then, yes, yeah, they're at that pivotal point in a relationship where they've been together for a couple months, and they're doing that thing where they're like, was
Couple
this a
months.
really fun fling,
Yeah.
or is this something that could be forever?
Should be
And-
forever.
That's so
Aw.
sweet. She's not so sure at this point. They're
Oh, Alex, she said, didn't Chris Pratt spoil Crypto in an interview for Guardians? Oh, maybe.
Oh, I think
Yeah, I
you're
do remember
right.
that. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah,
So they've only been dating a couple months. I do
Mhm.
wonder if that means, does she not know started the movie?
that he's
right, like-
Superman.
Yeah, like I wonder if that's the end of the movie journey. Is like she's not too sure about the relationship because he's keeping things. There's a level of maybe mistrust, and their journey is like
Mhm.
like uncovering that secret and like what it means, like what
Right.
trust means for their relationship, which I personally would like to see. Like I like getting to see their journey of finding
One of my
that
favorite
and
things
stuff
about
like that.
Superman and Lois was when we did the flashback to their early
It's so
relationship.
good.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a good jumping off point. Also, if what you're saying is true and she doesn't know yet, it makes me wonder if that scene we see with them in the trailer of Green Lantern
the
going
movie.
against the Sun
Yeah.
Eater, if that's where she learns that he's Superman.
Sure.
Or is that too late? Do you think that would be too late for her to find out? Or
I think it feels like a third act. Like it feels like like in Flash season 1 when like Barry has to like go back in time like to stop the tidal wave. Like it feels
Mhm.
like one of those kind of moments of like, I have to go. I'll be
Right.
right back. We will talk about this. Rips off the shirt, goes
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
that makes sense.
learning that they have obviously a common set of values. They both believe in relentless pursuit of truth and justice.
Now that I'm looking at that scene, I feel like that's when she learns. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. Something about this scene here.
I'm
that
not
I'm
sure
looking
at
I
this
at-
want
point.
to see it again.
They're learning that they have obviously a common set of values. They both believe
Yeah.
in relentless
I feel like this is
pursuit of
when he
truth
tells
and
her.
justice.
Yeah.
But they go about it in totally opposite ways. They have completely
Because if he's having trouble with this fight, if he's struggling with it, he might go to her to get some reassurance that he can do this.
Sure.
And that might be when he finally tells her who he is. Maybe things look dire. Maybe this Sun Eater is so powerful that he's not sure if they're going to make it through and he needs to like get this off his chest. I don't know.
different worldviews. He's somebody who's really radically present and always looking to do the next right thing. But that can mean that sometimes he doesn't think about the implications of said next right thing on the, the other right things that need to be done. And she's somebody who prides herself on being 10 steps ahead of everyone at any given moment. She doesn't trust anyone or anything right away. And he thinks that everyone and everything is beautiful.
You're just so
And
darn naive. How could you be so naive?
No, not naive, not naive.
Open-hearted.
I'm not sure what. Not naive.
Heart-led.
Well, because naive does imply that you're missing something, and everybody misses something. But I think Superman knows that he misses something about people. He wants to miss the bad stuff. He wants to see the good stuff. I think he feels like if you focus too much on the bad stuff, which he tends to think.
Were you gonna say? Do you have something to add to that? Or
No, that's such a good direction to go.
I want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear this back because this to me sounds no shade to Henry Cavill, but it sounds to me like David really does understand the character of Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman. What this character is, core values.
Yeah.
Well, because naive does imply that you're missing something, and everybody misses something, but I think Superman knows that he misses something about people. He wants to miss the bad stuff. He
That's
wants
such
to see
a good
the
way
stuff.
to put that.
I think he feels like if you focus too much on the bad stuff, which he tends to think Lois does, being a journalist and having to ask the tough questions, it's just a matter of like, why spend time thinking about all those terrible things when we did good things today and we could focus on those things?
Oh my God. So like the idea that he knows he's missing stuff in people and it's the bad stuff that he wants to miss.
Yeah.
I've never heard it said that way before.
And that's Superman at his core, right? Like like Superman just wants the best out of everybody. He wants to believe that everybody can be good, that everyone can change. And that's very like Superman and Lois too, where it's like sometimes Clark has to ignore some things or he will not have a life. He can't sleep at night. He sometimes has to separate. We did good today. What I did today was good, even if I couldn't save everybody, everywhere.
We saved somebody. You know what I mean? We saved some people. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's such a brilliant way to describe how because this is a Superman that's been doing it for a while, but he's still relatively new as a superhero.
Yeah.
God, that's I'm really excited now. That's a good way to explain Superman. All right.
And she's a little bit like, we could absolutely do that, but also we have to talk about the world as it really exists.
We can talk about this when we get home.
Talk about this later.
This sounds like
right here.
I know. I was going to say this sounds like every relationship, by the way, in the world.
Really relatable.
And then I think it comes down to a basic philosophical difference. He believes that the sanctity of life is of the utmost importance. No matter what, you do not let anyone die ever.
Wow.
She
That might
believes
be the chain they're talking
utilitarian.
about.
She believes that you want to do the most good for the most people, no matter how you do that, and she can see that that's not always the case.
Okay, so she's like, it's the ends, not the means, and that's going to be the thing that's going to drive Superman crazy, I think.
This is so good too because like in any good Superman and Lois Lane story, it's not about Superman and Lois Lane, it's about Clark and Lois Lane, and they seem to have their dynamics down from the get-go. Like Lois isn't just going to be Superman's girlfriend. It isn't just going to be, oh, I'm here and you're dating me on the side. No, like she is a fundamental part of Clark's life and their disbelief. And already in this interview, these two have such a good back and forth. They have such a good banter, and even like Lex kind of like in the middle and like how they talk, like that chemistry is there, and we haven't even seen the movie yet. This is interviews, and they have that locked down, which is very exciting.
Yeah. So already, I mean, this is just one interview, and as we get closer to the movie, we'll probably get more sound bites from them. But
Yeah.
I think that we have a very strong core three actors here in these three characters. And if anything, I know at the very least the character moment should be solid. Even if the movie isn't the most exciting, I think that the characters will be good. So,
and those are just two different philosophical, ethical structures. And that causes problems in their actual practical relationship.
Can they be forever? No.
Well, they're also just magnetically drawn to each other. That's the other thing is, love is something that nobody can explain and she certainly can't logic her way out of. They bring out love, and their relationship brings out the humanity in both of them. And that's one of the reasons why this is one of the most enduring love stories.
But that's what you were just saying. Like that just kind of adds on to your comments about like Superman is Superman, but the story is Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
So
So let's have the person enter that is going to ruin everything for everybody in this
interview.
In my life.
What it is end on I hate Fandango? No. For you, what I love about your career is nobody can typecast you because you have played.
That's true.
I'm going to say air quotes, good guys, bad guys. I know everybody's more multi-layered than that. But in playing this character, I heard you say, somebody asked you, who did you look to outside of film? And you said, I looked to Lex Luthor, the character.
Yeah, he's got such a wonderful, rich history. I mean, he's been embodied by so many wonderful actors, and through the comics, there's some brilliant writers and artists have had interpretations of him. But also just hearing you guys talking about the differences in their ideologies, Lex is kind of in this relentless end goal, and the means he justifies any way possible to get to that. So he doesn't care about the consequences of anything. He's willing to put on the line to achieve his goals. And
that's such a great, I want to run that back. That's such a great description of Lex. Like, he doesn't care of collateral damage. None of that matters to him. He just needs to get to what he wants. And that's going to be a very exciting version of Lex. We've had a little bit of that, but if this is truly how his Lex looks at the world, I don't think we've ever had a Lex that careless about life. Like, we've had Lex who's been, like, ruthless, but this is a Lex that sounds like he's willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. And that's kind of exciting and frightening at the same time.
Goal, and the means he justifies any way possible to get to that. So he doesn't care about the consequences of anything. He's willing to put on the line to achieve his goals, and he thinks he's right in his pursuit as well. So, but I mean, the primary thing coming to this was James wrote such a wonderful script. The dialogue is fantastic. The world is rich and fully imagined from this whole universe that you're creating, and then he cast wonderful people in these roles, not including myself in that statement, but these two. So it's just like a wonderful exploration of what these characters could be.
I think Lex believes in scientific inquiry in the same way Superman believes in life. Like, he'll give up anything to learn something new.
Hold on. I got to take that in.
Good.
I got to take that in. Let's do that again.
What these characters could be.
I think Lex believes in scientific inquiry in the same way Superman believes in life. Like, he'll give up anything to learn something new about science. Like, he'll let people die. He'll let anything happen because science is what matters. And taking that next step, even if it's going to destroy the entire planet, he wouldn't have any of the guilt that Oppenheimer had. He would just be like, I found that next step, and that's all he cares about.
That was necessary.
And the next film will be an Oppenheimer Superman crossover.
Oh my God.
Oppenheimer, exactly.
Oh, not the Barbenheimer.
Thanks for the passion.
Appreciate it.
Cannot wait to see this movie. Do you want to end on an I hate Fandango? I mean, just go for it.
Oh, yes. I hate Fandango!
Oh, that was a good interview.
That was.
Solid interview. Darth Zen, not to be technical, but the last Lex that we had in the DCEU was not this. It's Lex's kid, technically. Right? Wasn't Jesse Eisenberg like?
Was it?
I think it was Lex Luthor's kid. Wasn't he?
Was he?
Can the chat confirm that? I think he was Alexander. I think he was like the kid. So he was a slightly different character. I mean, he did represent Lex in the DCEU, but I don't think he was like the classic Lex Luthor, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. Hold on. I think the shade to Snyder 3W was or 3W was what David Cornsweet said when he talked about the toxicity around the movie.
No, I think it was probably about the killing.
Oh, you think so? You think that's
Yeah,
what it
like
was?
yeah, like he said, like he will do whatever it takes not to kill. He'll
Oh.
like that's his line he won't cross. That
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
but it could be both. I don't know.
Checking a couple more subjects here. See what we got. Where are we at on Super Chats? We are 4 out of 10, guys. We have 32 minutes left. 6 more Super Chats to reach the goal. Again, if you're watching on the Reloaded channel, it's any tier. So, Tony says, if Superman is really good, the haters will turn up to 100 and try and downplay it. I think there's a contingency of people on YouTube who, if a movie does well financially, they'll argue that artistically it's bad. And if it doesn't do well financially, but the fans love it, they'll argue that financially that means it's a flop. So, there's no winning with that contingency of people on here on YouTube. All right, did you make a list earlier of the top 5?
I didn't, but I will come up with some as you go along.
Okay, all right. So
what is that for? Like the worst? You said it's
okay.
The worst Marvel.
So it's
characters?
worst Marvel live action characters and worst DC live action characters. But when I say worst, there's no objective reason why.
Okay.
It's like your own personal list of ones that you don't like. So
gotcha.
That can be whoever you want it to be. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, let me start at the background music. I hear there's dead air. Setting me off. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Lone Wolf says, since you do have things to discuss if you want to. Let me see what they are. Critical Drinker's review of Minecraft is really just sort of doubling down on how the movie's a bad movie because of the quality of it, which, like I said, I can't argue about the quality, but Darren says he didn't really care for it, so there's that. But the issue is he also talks about how the movie's got a bunch of diversity in it and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But then he admits it'll probably make $1 billion. So just, it's kind of a nothing review, honestly. Doesn't really represent much of anything. Let's see. Oh, we can talk about this one for a second, I guess. Why'd you make your list? So Peacemaker Season 2 officially premieres August 21st on Max.
How do you feel that it's so close to Superman coming out? Because it's only about a month later.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why they can't premiere it like later in the year when there's not a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it's not like a September on October, and that gives your break between DCU projects a little bit more room to breathe a little bit. I don't know.
All right. Let's see. And the other one that you had here, Lone Wolf, is one that I'm not super familiar with. But maybe some people in the chat are interested in it, which is the Death Stranding game. There's a live action movie coming out. Michael Sarnowski is set to direct a live action Death Stranding movie for A24. So it's A24, which means it'll probably be very visionary in terms of like the way it looks. So this person directed A Quiet Place Day 1 and Pig. I like Death Stranding. My issue is, I mean, how much of the game is it going to cover? It's not a short game.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff to cover. Well, Omega, the game is like multiple movies. That's the thing. Like, okay, so Final Fantasy 14, for example. Okay, that game has almost 300 hours of story in it. So how do you take games that have like 50, 60, 70 hours worth of story and make it into like a movie? I don't know. I don't know about that one. This will probably be good, though. It's A24. I like the director. So I don't have much of an issue with that. Let's drop this down here. All right. Oh. Jonathan here says, did you see that Ming Nenhua at AwesomeCon talking about wanting to be a part of the John Wick series? I think she'd rock that. Of course, I love her and just about everything she's in. I don't want her to be typecast, though. I feel like she's really close to get to being that now. I don't know, Nitrium, but I think sometimes gameplay affects as well, especially if you're fighting bosses, stuff like that. The movie will involve Norman Reedus walking across an empty area for 3 hours. Is he going to be in the movie? I didn't see that in the tweet. Is he going to just reprise his role in the movie? I don't know.
All right, I made a semi list.
Okay, so I originally think I had villains and heroes specified, but this is just going to be because these are two different things that you guys voted for. So these are two topics that had been were tip goals. So we're going to knock those out tonight, and you guys in the chat can tell me agree or disagree with us on any of these. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of different opinions about them. And if you want us to talk about different things, just drop the super chats in there, and we'll pull them up as we're doing this, because this isn't one where we have to like stay totally focused on it. Should we start with DC or Marvel first? Where would you like to go?
I wrote mine out for Marvel. I haven't done anything for DC. So.
Okay, so let's do Marvel first then.
Okay.
All right. I will go first. Let me go back up to my list here. All right. All right. These are in no particular order, but I got 5 of them.
Okay.
All right. Number 5 for me. This is going to be quite controversial, I think, for some people. Not so much for me. But I put Finn Jones as Iron Fist on the Netflix series. My reason for that is I don't necessarily think he was miscast in the role. I think he could have played the role. I think he's capable of doing it. I just think that everything about that show was wrong for him. Every single other character on that show is better than he is. Especially Colleen. I think Colleen might be the single best character on the whole show, to be honest. But yeah, I think he's, for me, one of the worst because Marvel dropped the ball so hard for him. Would I like to see him come back and have a chance to bring the character back to life? Maybe. Possibly. Yeah, so right now we're doing the 5 worst Marvel. So if you want to drop your list, you guys can drop your list in the chat as well. So yeah, Finn Jones, Iron Fist, Danny Rand is one of my 5. So what is one of yours?
This was hard because I was thinking like there's not a lot that I like dislike. These are just some of like either like annoy me or I think could have done better or just I don't know why they're here. I just threw on Ralph Boner because that was
oh my god, yes. I
don't
forgot
know
about
if
that
I've
character.
Ever been more disappointed watching a Marvel thing of like Quicksilver's back is gonna be this huge thing and all the theories and them defining it with a joke was so frustrating. And then they brought him back for Agatha. And I felt like they were almost doing a really cool thing with that character, showing his trauma, seeing what he's going through. Like, this is really cool. But they couldn't let that trauma sit because they just had to continue with the boner joke. They had to keep going with it. And, like, Evan Peters is such a good actor, and he was so good as Quicksilver. And I hate that he was kind of defined by a boner joke. Like that's so disappointing.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Okay. My next one is not the MCU, but it is Marvel. And I hate to say this because I think that he's had a bad patch of like films. Jared Leto is Morbius.
Oh,
I did not like him in that role. I thought it was a perfect casting on paper that just was so bad in execution. So for me, it's like, like I went back and watched that movie recently with a friend of mine, only because they didn't believe it was as bad as everybody was saying it was. They had never seen it before. And they were like, if this movie ends up being good, we'll watch Madam Web and then we're going to watch Craven. I was like, you're going to be so disappointed because it is as bad as I'm saying it is. It's a bad movie. And I kid you not, we weren't even 45 minutes into the movie and they're like, just turn it off. Just, it's not good. So yeah, I did not like him in that role at all. So for me, Morbius is another one, my second choice there. And again, in no particular order. So what is your next one?
I didn't hate this character, but I loved this character in like the animated shows and some of the comics. I think there's such an iconic Marvel villain. MODOK, the Quantumania version of MODOK, I felt was so underwhelming, was so disappointing. There is an element of it that was pretty funny though, with his name being Darren. So every time in the theater, they're like, Darren, what are you doing, Darren? Like they kept going with the bit. Again, it wasn't terrible, but like MODOK, I always found to be such a cool villain, and I did feel like they just kind of had him be another joke character, which was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Naruto with a $2 super chat says Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I see a lot of revisionist history about people acting like that was peak Daredevil now, and it's so weird. I don't get that. The suit to me is probably the one good thing about that movie, but everything else is bad, just bad. So yeah, I would agree with you on that one. He's not on my list, but I agree with you on that one. All right. So the next one for me is weird because the character sort of got a redemption over time, but I'm basing it on one movie. So this character in this movie specifically was not good. And that is Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, aka Trevor Slattery in Iron Man 3. Absolutely awful in that film. And I know they needed him for like comedic effect, but the character already was problematic because of cultural reasons. But then the joke behind the character also was an issue, and they've tried to redeem that character over time, and I think by the time we got to Shang-Chi, he was fine. But the initial shock of him being who he was in Iron Man was really bad. We have a Wild Pagey appearing.
Whoa.
Where have you been for the last hour and 45 minutes?
Have you ever heard of a brothel? I wanted to wait till Eric started drinking until I did that.
Yeah.
Just wanted some, nose bubbles. You know when you get the nose bubbles?
Yeah. Not tonight.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
What do you mean not tonight? There was just you on camera.
There were nose bubbles earlier, but you missed them. You missed the nose bubbles.
Yeah, but that was for the sus ones.
Oh, gotcha.
Darren 45.
Yeah. Darren, what is your third?
My third, very similarly to MODOK, is Taskmaster.
That was one of my alternates on my list. Yeah,
it's interesting because I don't hate the character. Like on a basic level, they're fine in Black Widow. I bet they're going to be fine in Thunderbolts. But like that feels like such an underutilized take on such a cool character. A character that is such a massive threat and such a cool. I don't know if I say power set, but kind of power set, right? And just like what they can do. I never liked the whole technology take on the character. Like I always thought it was a pretty lame way to do that character.
Paige, we're giving our top 5 worst choices for MC or Marvel characters. So
Oh, wow, this must be hard for you, Eric, Mr. Shill.
it's not actually. I had almost 10 on a piece of paper.
Oh,
So.
okay.
My next one is from a movie that I don't think is as bad as people think it is, but I have a good time
Is
with
Thor
it.
the Dark World?
No, it's not. No, I do have a character from Thor: The Dark World on my list though. Jamie Foxx as Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Did not like him. Like he's okay in the No Way Home, but did not like him in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He has moments where I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. Overall, awful version of the character. I just did not like that version. I didn't like the way the effects looked on that. I didn't think that the character was particularly interesting. Could have done so much more with him, I think, personally. Didn't ruin the movie for me, but yeah.
Did you see Minecraft?
Darren saw Minecraft.
I saw it, yeah.
You didn't mine, Eric.
Hmm?
You didn't mine?
No.
I thought you were going Minecraft Mondays.
No.
You sure? Fuck, I've heard rumors that are not true then.
No, because I'm not a huge Minecraft fan, so now I've been confirmed from Darren that if you're not, you're probably not gonna understand a lot in the movie. So I'm
What
probably
is
not
does
missing out on
Darren
much.
mine?
I don't like Minecraft, and I thought it was horrendous.
Maybe you and Darren should start a Minecraft series.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's
learning
right
to
on that one.
mine.
Yeah.
Mind my own business or something. I don't know.
Staggervore, the 499 super chat. Thank you, Staggervore. Topher Grace as Eddie Brock Venom. That's another bad one. Oh god, that's do you remember that?
Was that categorized as bad?
Yeah, I would say yes, for sure. Yeah, I didn't like his version either. So
What's the thing he says?
Who?
Topher Grace's Venom.
What? Does he have a catchphrase? I don't remember.
Doesn't he say doesn't he have like a innuendo tingling thing or something? What's that line he says?
Oh wait, does he? I don't know about that.
He says something. I can't remember what it is.
Does anybody in the chat know what page he's talking about? I feel like you're just making it up.
No, he says something. Oh, he says my spider sense is tingling.
Why does he say that? Why would he say that?
But he's pointing at like Mary Jane Watson's ass or something.
No, I mean like when he says that because he doesn't have spider sense.
But I think it might be something else. Like Lance centric.
Maybe. So who's your fourth one, Darren?
My fourth one. You're not gonna like this.
Okay.
You're not gonna like this. This is a character that's not bad by any means. Not unlike the worst.
Oh
list,
no, I'm prepared. Go ahead.
but just a character that I personally find annoying. And a lot of people said that this was their favorite part of that movie, and I was like, I don't get it. And I love this actor, Red Guardian.
Wow.
I can't get into it. I thought.
Well, do you want to explain what you don't like about the character?
He's not bad. I found him pretty unlikable in Black Widow, and then I did not like their What If episode. And I bet over time I will learn to like him again. I
do remember you saying that you didn't like that episode, so that sort of tracks.
I think he's fine, but I think everyone being like he was the best part of the movie. I was like, I personally don't see that. But maybe he'll win me over in Thunderbolts. Maybe he'll. I don't know.
Look, Lone Wolf is like Darren. No way.
No way. I know.
All right, let's see here. What's the last one on my list? Because like I said, I wrote down almost 10. Okay, so my last one, we'll go for the Thor Dark World one because I defend that movie, but I do have an issue with one character in particular in that film. And it sucks because I think that this actor could have done more.
Yeah.
But that is Christopher Eccleston as the Balakith character, the Dark Elves, the leader of the Dark Elves. Yeah, not a fan. Pretty much a flat performance. I actually think people remember that movie and they forget that he was even the main villain because there's so many other things that are more interesting about that film. Yeah, he didn't have that sort of, I don't know, gravitas in that role. I mean, he's a great actor. I just don't think he was able to bring it to that role. And I don't know why.
I think the term you're thinking of is Riz.
Oh, Riz? Is that what it is? Is that what the kids are saying?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe what is he, an orc?
What?
What is he, an orc? Is he like an elf?
Yeah, the Dark Elves.
Oh, is he an elf? Okay, I didn't know. Wait, if it's one singular dark elf, is it elf?
What?
Imagine like you're like this villain and you're an elf. Like elves, like plural
Yes.
sounds threatening. Like dragons. Ooh, the dragon.
Oh, you mean as like a villain or something?
But and then like, but if someone
Yeah.
says the dragon is coming, you're like, oh shit, it's still a dragon. The elves are coming. Ooh, the elf is coming. It's not that. Like you just sort of roll your eyes and go, the elf is coming. Okay.
I guess makes sense. All right. Before Darren gives his, I think we're last one, right? It's the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Before Darren gives his last one, if you guys want us to pick a winner on the poll, we are 4 super chats away from 10. We have 11 minutes left to go, and it is super chats at any tier. So if you just want to toss out like a couple bucks to contribute towards the goal, that's fine. If we don't reach the goal tonight, then we will try again on Thursday. All right, Darren, your final choice here.
My final choice, I don't think this is necessarily a bad character, but it's definitely a waste of an actor, and I feel like my association with this character is just kind of thrown up with how bad that show was and what a waste of an actress it is, and that's Gaia from Secret Invasion.
Oh!
Like, getting Emilia Clarke in the MCU, you know, is such a cool idea, and like Super Skrull is such a cool idea in theory, and it's like, just feels like it's so wasted. Like, I think most of these are just like wasted potential for characters, and arguably now the most powerful character in the MCU in terms of just like our like street level kind of people, and we'll probably never see her again.
Yeah. This is a hot take. Jarrett's. I like Thor the Dark World more than Captain America the Winter Soldier.
That is.
I thought I was edgy. That's a pretty big hot take there.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Paige, what are you sharing here?
That is the superior Gaia. The fierce knight.
Yeah. There you go.
Pretty solid Yu-Gi-Oh card.
So I also want to give now my 5 least favorite or worst, I guess you could say, DC live action characters. So I'm going to give my list.
Guys, wait, DC live action characters.
Any live action character in the
I
DC
might partake
universe.
in this. Hold on, let me get my Riz on.
Okay, go ahead.
It's always on, Eric. It was a trick question.
Oh, okay.
It was a trick statement.
Gotcha.
You meant to respond by.
How did you pick anywhere from the Inhumans? So look, I had a list of 10. I went with the 5 that I personally disliked the most. I like to pretend
top 5 worst DC live
action actors as characters for whatever reason. You don't have to. It can be your own personal reason. I tend to forget the Inhumans just exist anyway. I don't bring it up because it's just that bad. Can we choose directors by any chance? If you want, it's your list, Maddie. I'm not going to pick directors, but you can. I know you want to put Zack Snyder down, so I guess.
Does he?
I mean, I assume that's
you
why.
Put like just Zack Snyder aged this age, and it's for specifically Man of Steel, and then.
While Paigey is making his list, he's going to love this. Did you watch $2 Super Chat? Did you watch anything interesting this week? The finale for White Lotus. I watched that this week.
Was it as bad as I'm hearing?
I thought it was good. I thought it wrapped up. I think people that are saying it was bad. I think if you said it was like, oh, I thought it was mid. Fair enough, because I don't think it got to the heights, maybe, or like I think maybe like how it opens. It's not as rewarding at the end if that's why you're watching it to see what the opening scene leads to the final episode. But the whole point of the White Lotus is that it's a bunch of privileged people with their own problems that go to a resort. Usually they're locked into that resort. Everything happens within the resort.
And geeked out of that
They
resort.
geek out, and either they change or they get worse. They either change for the worse or they change for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of the show, and it's about really going through and understanding whether that's like,
I would
right for the
say
character.
I liked it, but my issue, I'm not going to spoil it because I know it just came out today, and I know people haven't had a chance to see it, but, or came out last night, I should say. So my issue with White Lotus finale was I thought of 5 other scenarios that the end could lead up to the beginning that were more interesting to me than what we got. But that's that whole theory crafting letdown shit that happens when you open your season with what the ending is supposed to be. Honestly, if you subtract that opening scene and you start the season without that opening scene, I actually think people would have a more favorable opinion of the season. That's my personal opinion. But there's that. I'm also watching Righteous Gemstones, which Gemstones.
I'm watching. Fuck, are we all on Danny McBride's Doodle or something? Because I'm watching Eastbound and Down.
I haven't watched that recently, so
you should watch that if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. All right. So that leads us at 7 out of 10. 3 more super chats to reach the goal. You guys, we can do it. All right. I'm going to start with my list here of 5. And Paige can keep on writing if he wants or not. I don't know.
That's really rude. Like not accepting what my answers potentially could be,
Right.
my options.
All right. This is going to be a hot take because I've got a renewed love for the movie. However, I don't like this actor in this role. I like everybody else in their roles in the movie, but I don't like the actor in this role. And the chat may fry me on this one. You guys might fry me on this one. But it is Mary Elizabeth Winstead as the Huntress in Birds of Prey. I didn't like her as the Huntress. I think she's one of the worst characters in the DCEU. Paige's not upset about that. He loves that movie.
No, I just don't think it deserves recognition because, it might be because you're gay, Eric. I'm not too sure. It might be because of that. I'm gonna go down the gay angle because
why would that have anything to do with the character?
Because Mary Elizabeth Winstead is top 5 simped over women of all time, I think potentially. So it might not.
So wait, what does that have to do with? What does that have to do with her in the role?
Well, it's just with a lot of things.
Is it a goon thing? Is that all it is? I'm gonna goon out to her.
I don't think it's a goon thing. I don't know. That might be up to Lance. He's usually the one that. He's usually was he the ghost of the goon?
I mean, I'm assuming it is because you're framing it about her being hot.
Well, she is hot.
Okay, so what does that have to do with her not being good in a role?
No, it just means you just have a look. It's she's hot. So you just sort of whatever.
So you're not disputing that she's bad in the role. You're just saying that she's hot.
I thought she was fine. Are you talking about the acting performance or the character?
Her as that character. I didn't like her as that character. I don't think she was very good as the Huntress.
Yeah,
and Jasmine, I will agree with you. I think she was also bad too.
I was literally about to write that
bad,
down,
so,
before Jasmine wrote that. But I'll just the Cassandra Cain was probably the worst.
I actually think Black Canary was the best part of that movie, in my opinion. But
I thought it was when Black Mask skinned those people's faces.
You didn't like, so you would say that her version of Huntress was as good as Black Canary. Would you argue that?
No, but that's saying,
So that's what I'm saying. She wasn't good in the role. I feel like she was the weakest.
Yeah,
part of
but
that
I
movie
feel like
me.
the Cassandra Cain jumps to the top of that list. If you're going to mention anything from Birds of Prey.
So is that on your list? Is she on your top 5?
No, because
okay.
You're the surprise. So that would have been an option, but now got to write down another one instead.
All right, guys, we are at the 3-minute mark to get 3 more super chats. If we do not reach them, we do not. The poll doesn't count. All the voting doesn't count if we don't reach the goal. 3 minutes.
Wow, is that a threat?
It is. Anyway, so Garrett, have you wrote any down?
Wait,
I wrote a couple down.
Okay, you don't have 5, so that's
Couple.
fine. Just give me one of yours then.
It easily, I think like one of the stupidest things the DCEU ever did. Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy,
From BVS.
yes, like such a
who was? Wait, who was the actor that played Michael Cassidy? That's what his name was.
he was in
Cassidy.
the OC.
What a weird choice, right? Like, why? I don't know. That's still like my least favorite thing that the DCEU ever did. I didn't get it.
Staggervore says 2 away, guys. 2 away with 2 minutes.
What's OBJ?
It's an object. It's a little emoji that won't show up. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze. He was actually on my list.
Wow.
I kind of like him. I don't know.
He was on my list. So there we go. 2 more super chats to reach the goal. 1 minute and 43 seconds. Paigey, do you have one you want to drop? Have you made your list yet?
I've got 4
Okay.
so far.
Go, give one of yours.
The hotness.
Is that it? Really?
No.
Is that the real?
I thought
one?
I thought I was waiting for a reaction. I thought you might be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Alright.
This is my thoughts on the hotness as well. My name's DJ Erickson III.
Okay.
Well, you're not gonna like this one. You're gonna disagree. You're gonna be like, why'd you put this? But Cupid stupid.
I don't disagree. I actually totally 100% agree with that.
Really?
Yes, I hate that character.
I
I
think you
actually
like that
forgot.
character.
I forgot she even existed until you just said it. But yeah, I would agree. That character's not
Shit.
good. Shit character. All right. Let's see what's next on my list here. I was going to say Mr. Freeze, so I only have 3 more left now. Okay. Where are we going to go here? All right. This one is probably going to trigger some people. Halle Berry as Catwoman.
Oh, that I had one. I had her down.
Did you?
You've
Okay.
you've taken one of mine.
Yeah, that was bad. Halle Berry as Catwoman was bad. Like, that movie is so ridiculously campy and stupid, but she was trying so hard to give a really good performance, and it just wasn't good. So, that would be mine.
No, what
Darren?
are yours?
I don't hate him. I really don't. But I don't know, something about him just bugs me, and the take on the character kind of bugs me. Jason Todd from Titans just kind of feels like a very, I don't know, weird take on the character, and like I think the way they did his Red Hood arc, I think that's the worst part about it. Is like it's such a rushed version of that story in a show that I think could have been so impactful. And also like no shade on the actor, but I think the actor like consistently being on Twitter being like, bring me back, James Gunn, bring me back, is so like, all right, man, you have to get over it. You have to move on.
All right, Paigey, you have another one?
I have 2 more.
Okay.
Once again, one you're probably going to disagree with. Mona from Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I know you love that episode where she's in like the pile of Bebos.
What a bad character. I actually forgot she existed.
Am I just like unlocking like suppressed memories or suppressed nightmares, Eric? What do you mean, South Texas Shark? Goon or not to goon? Shakespeare now getting involved in the brain rot.
All right. Yeah, I think you put that up because I said I'm still going to count super chats. All we need is one more now. Thank you, South Texas Shark. I would say always goon, never not to goon. So,
What?
you should always goon out. Do you disagree?
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd advocate for it, but have you been listening to Limp Bizkit?
No.
Oh, okay. Have you been playing Limp Bizkit?
No. Nobody ever asked for Limp Bizkit. I don't know why you think it's still popular enough for people to ask for it.
What, the game or the song or the band?
I can't believe you even asked that question. Anyway,
I don't know. what
Darren,
that's
do you have
all about.
another one?
I mean, Cicada is up there for me.
Oh,
Which one?
Both equally. I hated both. It's just like, and it sucks because both, in theory, both are great. Like I like it. Like in theory, it's a really cool idea. It's just the execution of it is so annoying and so uneventful, and you could have done so much with a story arc like that. And yeah, not a huge fan.
All right. So it's funny. My next one is Arrowverse. I have two more, but the next one is Arrowverse. This is Johan Erb as Vigilante on Arrow.
Oh, God.
What a awful version of Vigilante. So bad. That whole story is like, it was created to give Dinah something, and then it just made her feel like she was there to facilitate, to justify being there because they screwed up and brought her in to replace, Katie Cassidy. So they created that whole story to give her something, and it was stupid. It was just the whole thing was dumb. Staggervore with a 199 super chat, which now we have officially hit the goal. Thank you, Staggervore. Appreciate it. Shaquille O'Neal as Steel.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Do you agree or disagree?
As Steel.
Paigey?
I don't think I ever watched that movie.
You never saw it, even as a kid?
No. I think especially as a kid, I did not watch it.
All right. So I have one more to get. Does anybody have one more?
Oh, I've got one. Ooh. It's a bit of a troll option. Actually, not even troll. It's almost like just... No, maybe it's me being lazy. I don't know.
Okay.
But I wrote Jonah Hill's Green Lantern in Lego Batman.
Oh my God, that is a troll.
How is it a troll?
Because it's just to trigger me. That's the only reason you did that.
Why did you like his Green Lantern?
I did. I thought it was the best thing in the movie.
Okay, here we go. Now who's trolling?
All right, my last one is...
Wait, Iris West Allen?
No. It is Arrowverse, though, but it's not Iris.
Felicity Smoke?
No.
What show?
I actually don't have a problem with Emily as Felicity. I just don't like the direction of the character.
Jabesia Leslie as
It's
Ryan
all
Martin.
okay. I'll give you a hint. I'm gonna before I answer what it is, everybody gets to lock in their guess. Okay, the character is from Supergirl.
A main character or a villain?
That's giving away too much. It's just a character from Supergirl.
Kevin Sorbo's character?
Anybody in the chat want to guess?
Is it Kevin Sorbo's character?
I'm gonna wait till the chat guesses.
Is it Ben?
It's not Ben. No,
Is it a male or female?
it's a guy.
Kevin Sorbo's character.
No,
Mon-El?
chat doesn't have any guesses. They can't figure it out. They're thinking like on Supergirl, who was a bad character?
Oh, that I know, the one that was in that Zack Snyder movie.
What?
He was in, Dean Cain?
Dean Cain? No, it's not Dean Cain, but he's bad. But it's not.
No, the one that played like Kara's love interest, and he was in Rebel Moon.
Oh, I don't remember who that is. Oh, he played William, I think was his name.
Yeah, William. Is that it?
Yeah, no, it's not him. It is Mon-El himself. No, it's Chris Wood. It's Mon-El.
Well, Kevin Sorbo was Mon-El's dad, wasn't he?
I think he was. You're
I
right.
was I was half right.
I wanted to root for Mon-El because I don't think he was as bad as everybody says he was in the beginning, but then he just went progressively downhill. And by the end of the series, they gave him the suit without the symbol. So he's got this House of L spot on the suit that there's no symbol on it.
LOL.
It's just bad. Absolutely
bad.
bad. It's just bad. They could have done so much more. Drowsy says YouTube really is like ad block these days. Every time I have to close this window because it freezes. Yeah, well, I'm not running ads, so I don't know why you're... It shouldn't be ads popping up for you. Oh my god. Sorry to hear that, but yeah, they are trying to crack down on ad blockers. They're doing a good job of it, I guess, because a lot of people have to keep like getting the newest version of ad blockers every time it happens. So they're definitely trying something. Welcome back, Darren.
To be honest, Kevin Sorbo looks a bit like you, Eric.
He does not look like me.
You sure?
So Cullen says, sounds like Paigey hates Kevin Sorbo, but I loved him in Hercules.
Well, Eric doesn't like him because he's like a Margot person, isn't he, or something?
I didn't say anything about Kevin Sorbo. You're the one that brought him up.
Yeah, because you were talking shit about him last week.
I don't even think about the man. So
Now you are. So who's winning now?
All right, we have one more super chat here. We did reach the goal, so we'll check here and see what the winning option is. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I do appreciate it. You know, you guys know everything just goes back to the channel. So what?
The little white balls.
The tip jar?
Wait, is that real or fake?
It's fake. It's a
Okay,
tip
I thought that was sitting on like it looks pretty legit. It looks like it's full of Tic
real.
Tacs.
Yeah.
Does it? Okay, maybe I should give it like a little tilt so it looks 3D. South Texas Shark with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Does anyone request video game music while DJing? I mean, I guess it really depends on what you consider video game music. I get a lot of Grand Theft Auto song requests, but those are kind of like just regular songs.
Just like
What's the
Mario.
weirdest song
yeah.
request you got this week?
This week? Let me think.
Or in recent memory?
I get some stuff from Has Been Hotel, which is weird.
Isn't that like a weird show? Like,
Well, it's basically I think it's God, what is the name of the show? Like the actual online cartoon?
Hell of a
Hell of a
boss.
Boss. Hell of a Boss. Yeah. So it's a continued spin-off or whatever of Hell of a Boss that's on Amazon, I think.
Mhm.
But
Music
it's
is
very
great in it, but it's not very PG for sure.
yeah, it's a very like so when I go in, because I do a lot of ad promotional stuff on Tuesdays. So when I'm working on ads, I'm sitting in the club where karaoke is going on. A lot of people do Has Been Hotel karaoke. Because it's very theater kid type music.
Yeah.
So I get requests for that, which is kind of weird. It's not bad music, it's just kind of weird. But I would just say, other than that, I got a request for like a Irish drinking song in the middle of like EDM. So I thought it was a little weird. It's probably the weirdest one though. Let's see. All right. And we have another super chat here from Staggervore. Do you want to take Staggervore? It's too late in the stream now. I tell you what, let me do this. I'm not going to do it in the next 5-hour stream. The next 5-hour stream, I will not do anything with like video clips like that. But let me do this. Let me write it in my notes for Thursday.
by the way,
So I don't forget.
with Minecraft, what game do you think they could also go full meme with and just make it like fucking stupid but successful movie?
Like what now? What were you saying?
Like, what other game do you
Right.
think they could go full meme with and make it just not obviously great movie, but
Full meme with game wise?
well, that's the thing with Minecraft. They've just gone full meme.
Yeah.
They've leaned
No, I
into
get
it.
that part. I'm trying to think if there's anything like maybe Roblox?
Yeah. I think Maddie's right. Probably Fortnite.
Fortnite is another one, yeah.
I think I don't know how it would work, like, because it's a specific part of the game, and it's not necessarily the main part of the game. But Call of Duty Zombies and all the things that are in the Zombies game mode, I think you could go full meme with potentially, but you'd have to cast it right. Funnily enough, I think you'd probably cast Jack Black in it. Then you'd have to cast like all very unique, like they're all different, but they all work together. Like I could see like Liam Neeson working well in it for some reason. I don't know. That might have been just because I saw that the Naked Gun reboot trailer thing.
We didn't watch that here, but I might watch it on Thursday because a lot of people keep telling me to watch it.
Well, I know you would love it because they had OJ in it, so I knew
they
you'd love that trailer.
roasted OJ in that freaking trailer. So
Do you think that'll be the only OJ joke, or do you think there'll be another?
no,
OJ?
I think there'll probably be more than one, but that's probably the big one. So Anyway, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for the stream. Thank you guys for coming in and chilling with us tonight. Let me see what the actual poll is. We're going to end the poll here.
No, that's the thing, Jaybird. If you do zombies, then you can do like all the guns, like a ray gun. Like you can get, I was like, oh fuck, it's the ray gun.
This
Or
one's
you
going to be fun. We will do this on Thursday. Top 5 best Arrowverse villains won the poll. So top 5 best Arrowverse villains. Let me write that into my list. That'll definitely be on Thursday.
What about top 5 underrated, low-key, funny meme moments?
Well, we still haven't done the Arrowverse memes because you promised it and you haven't.
No, because
actually.
you didn't come up with any. You were fucking hopeless.
I asked you what the format was. I didn't even understand
I
what it
said
was.
it means.
We put it in the list because you brought it up. I have no idea what that even means.
Yeah.
Top
that's-
Arrowverse memes? The only one I can think of is the peace out on the grave.
Apartment 4, that's a meme.
You mentioned that last time, but yet we still haven't done it yet.
Daddy loves the metal, that's a meme. You could argue Love is a Battlefield is a meme.
Well, don't give them away yet because we haven't even done it.
We're not ranking them.
Yeah, well, we can rank them when we get the list together. Anyway, so on Thursday we're gonna do top 5 best Arrowverse villains, and everybody can come up with their own little list.
Wait, by the way, did you see the Arrow Instagram account or the social medias randomly posted that Prometheus shit?
Mm-mm.
I did see that. Yeah.
What the fuck were they doing? And everyone's like in the comments going, "Look, go on like the Arrow Instagram, Eric."
Thanks, yours truly. I'll look that up.
Or was it even on Twitter? Do they do it on Twitter as well?
Let me see.
I saw it on Instagram. I don't know.
Is it which account is it?
Arrow?
Okay, yeah, just the
like the
Instagram.
official Arrow.
Yeah, CW Arrow.
All right. No, they didn't post anything on there.
Yeah, they did. I fucking saw it.
Not on Twitter.
No, Instagram.
Oh, you said check Twitter.
No, I checked Twitter to see if they put it there as well, and they didn't.
Let's see, CW Arrow.
Who still runs these accounts? Are they like?
It's still there.
An intern somewhere, probably.
Well, it's so random, and the thing was that the tag.
Well, it was
just
5 days.
screwed up.
5 days ago. Yeah, let me show you.
Yeah, but that wasn't April Fool's, so it wasn't an April Fool's thing either.
It would have been 5 days ago. Was April Fool's, right?
No, it wasn't. That was 6 days ago.
That was
Yeah.
7. Like
There it is. It says suit up.
why?
Yeah, and then the guy that played fucking Connor Hawke is doing eyeball emojis or whatever it is there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know what this was about. I was looking, it's like, wait, what's doing?
Yeah,
going on
that's
here?
weird. That's
And
weird.
Prometheus is a weird character to do that with too.
Yeah.
Suit up.
I've heard some
Prometheus.
multiple photos as well. Like, wait, do you think maybe it was like a scheduled post from like 8 years ago and someone just accidentally put like that date? No, because that would have been like April 3rd. Like, that episode is like, that's like the pilot. That's like episode 1 of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wouldn't have been in April.
That
April was like
season.
the end of the season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too funny.
How random.
Anyway, thanks everybody for being
Imagine
here.
if the Flash
Thanks,
account
Darren,
did
for
that, but it
hanging
was
in,
the
so-
Love is a Battlefield scene.
No, we were not going to imagine that. Thanks, Darren, for
Why?
being here. For Paigey for showing up later and coming in for the party. Let me blow my screen up here.
I mean, below.
Get locked it in like this, so we can do this. But anyway, so I will be live again on Thursday, so you guys can check us then. It'll probably be a little bit earlier, just like it was tonight, by about 30 minutes. I'm going to check the analytics. Hope it's still good for everybody. Anyway, have a good night, everyone.
Wait, can
will see.
Can I give the quote for the night?
Give a quote? Yeah.
Yeah, so I learnt this from Eastbound and Down. There's no I in team, but there's a U in cunt.